Here again with another Dexter-related video. Yes, you heard me right. Another Dexter-related video, as today, at the time of this recording, is the 17-year anniversary of when Dexter first aired on Showtime on October 1st, 2006. And the original run of Dexter ran until September 22nd of 2013. But before I talk about any more Dexter stuff or possibilities for Dexter New Blood Season 2, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am in rewatch, you're watching all of the first 8 seasons of Dexter and the first season of Dexter New Blood, then I highly suggest that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. So I'm just going to be talking about Dexter in general, of, kind of how the show went initially. Not a lot of facts about the show. And then, the timeline of we've had this Dexter news, the end of Dexter New Blood, and what to expect now. Or what to expect next. So, again, the show ended, the original run of Dexter ended on September 22nd of 2013 when Dexter wanted to meet up with Hannah and Harrison in Argentina. But Elway was making that rather difficult. And then Dexter finds out that Deb was shot by Oliver Saxon, a.k.a. Daniel Vogel, the brain surgeon. So Dexter goes back to the hospital, tells Harrison and Hannah to go without him. He'll meet him there. Kind of out of order here. I guess technically he met up with them again and said, go on this bus and I'll get there eventually. And so Deb's initially okay. And then Dexter finds out that Deb has died due to a complication. So Dexter ends up killing Oliver Saxon, a.k.a. Daniel Vogel, right where Quinn and Sergeant, or at the time Angel Batista, Lieutenant, was he Lieutenant, or I don't even remember what his position was at the time, but Angel Batista could see it clearly that Dexter clearly, purposely killed Oliver Saxon, but to their recollection it was self-defense, even though clearly Dexter set that all up. So then Dexter couldn't make it to Hannah and Harrison, and then because of all the tragedy, which Dexter is a tragic story, Dexter gets on the slice of life and drives his boat into a hurricane. But before he does that, he calls Hannah. He tells Hannah, he loves her and all that, and tells Harrison, I love you. Don't think any different until I see you again. And then Dexter is essentially trying to commit suicide. But unfortunately, he does drive his boat in the hurricane, but he survives. So because he wasn't successful with that, Dexter decides to live in exile. Just go somewhere else. Don't let anybody know you're around. That way you don't have to worry about any other people close to you dying. So that was the end of Dexter initially, where people didn't really like the show all that much. They didn't like the ending all that much. They hated the finale of the original Dexter run on Showtime. I never watched the original run on Showtime until a year after it ended. I believe I started watching Dexter in August of 2014, and I've now seen the show at least 8 times. I've watched it twice a few years just to cover it with different people. So people were not happy about that ending of Dexter, but hey, at least in that ending, Dexter was alive as a lumberjack. At least he's there. He's just trying to seclude himself so nobody else close to him dies or is in danger of dying. And then in October of 2020, we get news that there's going to be another season of Dexter called Dexter New Blood. It's going to be a lot different, but Dexter will be back. And I was pumped because I had finally seen all of Dexter at that point, I think 6 times. In fact, I was just rewatching. I just finished a review of all the original episodes of Dexter, which were terrible quality on this channel, if you can find them. They're still there. I've hid them, but you can still find them if you search for the right things. But I love the original run of Dexter when I finally watched it. I didn't know any spoilers going in, but it was an awesome show. I really connected with some of the characters. I really liked a lot of the characters like Dexter, James Dokes, and Hannah McKay. Sometimes I like Deb. Batista was okay, although sometimes he's not very clever. And then, of course, we get the news that there's going to be Dexter New Blood, and it's going to be a limited series on Showtime to air within the next year. And then we do get the airing of Dexter New Blood. That starts on November 7th of 2021, where Dexter hadn't killed for a long time. and then he meets this character named Matt Caldwell, and he just decides in that episode that Matt Caldwell's got to go because he definitely meets the code. Now, while Dexter's a little bit rusty in doing so, he is able to kill Matt Caldwell at the end of the episode, and then it's the voice comes back, the Dark Passenger comes back, but before then it hadn't for a long time. And Dexter New Blood was a huge success. It was a 10-episode season, and the finale aired on I'm way off on that. January 9th of 2022. First 9 episodes, really good. In fact, episode 5, called Runaway, we get the return of Angel Batista. We also get the return of Harrison in the first episode, and we also get the news in the second episode of Dexter New Blood that Hannah McKay died of pancreatic cancer. I'm not a fan of killing a character off like that off screen, but I mean, if that's the way it has to be, so be it. And then we come to Dexter New Blood, Season 1, Episode 10, where the episode's really good. There's some issues with, Angela saying ketamine, and Batista gets called, and, are you aware Dexter Morgan? I Google search all this stuff, and I realized that he's also the Bay Harbor Butcher, and there's needle marks in all these bodies that have died, and Batista's on his way. But then Dexter decides that he wants to get out of his cell. He essentially snaps Sergeant Logan's neck, and then this is after Dexter telling Angela that Kurt Caldwell is the one that's behind all these missing girls, and I can tell you exactly where they are. So Dexter meets up with Harrison, his son, of course, but Harrison's upset that Dexter has killed his teacher, which didn't really look like he killed him, to be honest with you. But then, of course, when Angela gets to the station, she sees that Logan is dead. But, Harrison's upset because Dexter killed somebody that, for one, is innocent. Sergeant Logan did nothing wrong that we know of. But the fact that Dexter killed him really upsets Harrison, and all the stuff that Dexter talks about is complete bullshit. So Harrison, with Dexter's blessing, actually shoots and allegedly kills his father, Dexter, to really rile up the fan base. The most predictable ending that you can have in the show that really doesn't do anything. You still have Batista on his way, and that's it. Dexter's dead. Harrison reads Dexter's note as he's driving away, and that is what we think is the end of Dexter New Blood. Now, earlier this year, and don't ask me the dates, we get word there's going to be a Dexter Origins show where it's going to focus on Dexter getting to Miami Metro, and there's also going to be a Trinity Killer spin-off show with the early days of the Trinity Killer. Most likely not played by John Lithgow, but somebody resemblance to John Lithgow. And we might hear John Lithgow do a voice, or maybe like a futuristic scene or something like that. And we got word that Dexter New Blood was canceled. At least that's what we thought. And then there's word that there will be a season 2 of Dexter New Blood, but it won't come out for a few years. So that's kind of where we are right now. Now, the obvious route for Dexter New Blood is to follow Harrison and have him have a Dark Passenger. I do not want that. And all the people that are watching this video do not want that. We don't want to see a show with Harrison by himself. Well, we might get Dexter, but as a Dark Passenger or the voice of reason. We don't want that. That is dumb. It doesn't really do much. It limits what you can do. There's an easy way to fix everything. Now, I posted a video earlier this year going over a bunch of stuff that I would change with Dexter and have how I would want Dexter to end. That's a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do right now, in not so many words, is tell you what I think should happen in Dexter New Blood Season 2. The part where Dexter is in his cell, and then Deb finally shows up in the finale of Dexter New Blood, or what we thought was the finale of Dexter New Blood. That right there should be a dream. Or that should start with Dexter falling asleep, and then he wakes up. Because Dexter killing Sergeant Logan It doesn't make any sense. Logan didn't do anything wrong. That, in my opinion, can't happen. So then we have Dexter, and he'll go to trial. He'll go to trial. I was going to say Dave Bautista. Angel Bautista will come to Iron Lake, and he will, confront Dexter. Did you kill Maria? And Dexter going to be like, no. Or maybe he'll admit to it and say, well, no, but, I don't know if he wants to admit that Deb is the one that killed LaGuerta when he was going to do something with her anyway, as before Deb even showed up. So that's that. We need to not have... Now, I know Clyde Phillips has went on record saying that he's not going to do that to the fans. He's not going to do something like that to insult the fans. But Clyde Phillips, hear me out here. 90% of the people that watch Dexter New Blood hate the ending that we have thus far of Dexter New Blood. This will be much better. It could be a much better ending, and maybe you can kind of slow the pace down a little bit and have it last for a longer time period. Now, as far as Dexter, if he's, if he's actually in prison during this whole time period, that could screw some things up. But if he can be out while they, dig up their case on him, he can go back to, doing what he does, just being very careful. But I think that we need to have Dexter back and not dead. Or maybe you do where Angela's able to revive Dexter when he's laying there on the ground, although he still killed Sergeant Logan, which really complicates things in my opinion. But you could have the show last for a couple seasons. Does Dexter have to die in Dexter New Blood season 2 or future if they go that route? He does not have to. You can always do a route where... I haven't seen all the TV show Hannibal, so I don't know what happens in Hannibal, but kind of a Silence of the Lambs thing where Dexter's so valuable to the authorities that they use him for his knowledge on, catching serial killers, because he did a lot of good things. He prevented a lot of deaths. The people that Dexter killed, almost all of them, were going to kill a lot more people. And Dexter has prevented all that from happening. And you have a bunch of parents that are going to be really happy that they're not going to be happy necessarily, but they're going to be at peace knowing what finally happened to their missing girls for the victims of Kirk Caldwell that Dexter solved, where Angela Bishop couldn't solve that for 20 years. And Dexter put all the dots together, just like Angela put all the dots together with her Google searches about him. So... like I said, you could have an ending where Dexter is helping the feds or helping a police force. Maybe he's not in jail. Maybe he has so much support by so many people for all the deaths that Dexter prevented that he's, you're good to go. I don't know if that would happen necessarily. If we do where Dexter's revived from what happened at the end of Dexter New Blood, then obviously he's probably going to have to go to jail and possibly face execution because he killed an innocent person, Sergeant Logan. And there's other innocent people that he killed or that he didn't research before they were killed. But Sergeant Logan is a big one, a police officer, a sergeant who was killed at the hands of this man. Although it didn't look like it initially, but that's what happened. But I think for anybody watching this video that's a part of Showtime or Clyde Phillips or anybody that has anything to do with Dexter, please don't leave us with the ending that you gave us. You messed it up twice, but I feel like there's a way that maybe this was your intention all along and Clyde Phillips is just playing dumb. But I want to see more Dexter. It's the 17th anniversary of Dexter, although it will be October 2nd. When you see this video, but we want more Dexter, and we want Dexter to be alive, at least for the moment. We want to have a reunion between Angel Bautista and Dexter Morgan. In addition to Dexter and Angel Bautista reuniting, the show at some point eventually needs to definitely go back to Miami and let us have some fun with the characters of Miami Metro's Homicide, obviously including Bautista, Matthews, Quinn, Masuka, Jamie Bautista, Aster, Cody, possibly Lumen if she comes back from Minnesota, and anybody else. And then lastly, if possible, if you could bring back Hannah McKay. Now I know Hannah McKay supposedly died of pancreatic cancer. That sucks. To me, I don't believe it unless I actually see her die. So if we could get like a flashback scene with a younger Harrison showing Hannah on the decline, at least to have Hannah's involvement. That would be cool. If Von Strahovski doesn't want to do it, well, I guess then you can't do it. But I don't like it. Bring her character back, or at least show her on the decline. So that's what I would do with Dexter New Blood Season 2 and beyond. Let me know your thoughts. If you're a fan of Dexter or Dexter New Blood, of course, both shows, even though the finales of both series weren't the best, although Dexter Season 8 isn't as bad as people say it is, make sure you Hulk smash the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Share the video with a friend, especially your Dexter friends. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on more seasons of Dexter New Blood, Season 2 and beyond. Would you watch the show if it's just focused on Harrison with Dexter being in it, but as the person that he talks to that's not really there? Let me know what you think about my idea of returning characters, and if Dexter could become like a Hannibal Lecter, like an asset to the feds or something like that. And then last but certainly not least, you're watching the video anyway, so don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And J-Dev will return as Dexter takes a look at all of his victims.